Recently, I've been thinking a lot about something that almost nobody talks about in trading space, and yet it affects every chart, it affects every decision, it affects every single outcome. And you've been following my videos for a while, and I don't want to be here and just throw out some motivational nonsense and these cliches that you see that we've seen all through 2025 because people have run out of material. I don't want to repeat that kind of stuff. There's plenty of videos out there, and you've seen a lot of my in-depth videos as well. But I want to talk to you directly, like you are sitting right across a desk or a room away from me, all right? Because this may be uncomfortable, and a lot of my things kind of make you feel uncomfortable. A lot of my things, my videos and my content really allow you to look into the mirror and see where you are at. And I can tell by the comments, I can tell by the people that we work with and the feedback that we get from these types of videos. Now, I'm not here to make you feel great. I'm not here to make you, blow smoke up your backside, as we would say in the UK. I'm here so you go on to be a better trader. That's my job. That's why I share this content. Nothing else. That's why I share this content, so you can get better at that. Now, like I said, this is going to make you feel uncomfortable. And I want you to remember this quote. This quote comes from many mentors that I've come across. They've repeated it. I'm not sure who it is originally from, but how you do one thing is how you do everything. Now, if you've been in my community for a long time, you know I talk about that all the time. And how is that relevant? What does that mean? Well, it's not, some Pinterest stupid quote that you see and people can stick on their wall and top of their desk and they think that they've done all the work, all right? I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a brutal, honest way. That in an unforgiving reality, all right, that your habits, your mindset, your emotions, your patterns, they don't switch on and off when you feel like it. They don't switch from, oh, well, now I might do something and now I might don't. There's momentum, there's a psychology, there's a nervous system, etc. in that. And again, I always relate that to sports. The coaches always used to say when I was a footballer, you can't just turn up. You can't just turn it on and off, all right? That's how we need to be in trading, right? You need to make sure everything is within touch in your trading. From the minute you wake up, from the minute you get on the charts, and from the minute that you are deciding to take a trade. Now, a lot of traders, right, they try to separate life from trading. Now, let's think about it. If there's anything else that you've done, that you have achieved, you've had to commit, you've had to become consumed, absolutely like delusional and obsessed with what you're trying to do. You can't flip and flop and be in and out of these types of things, especially a high level, elite trade, craft, whatever you want to call it, career in trading. Now, a lot of you think, oh, well, my personal life's a little bit chaotic, but I'll just jump into trading and I'll start being disciplined. Now, we know that discipline is it's many things. There's many things within discipline. It's not just, oh, I'm disciplined. There's many different things, belief systems, etc., things like that. And I've spoke about that in loads of other videos. And it's belief systems of why you're struggling at the moment or probably clicked on this video, not profitable. Okay, it's belief systems. Because you don't have a system and you don't have etc. And again, if you need any help with that, you know where the link is, all right? At the moment, it's closed until we reopen our mentorship because we are full and we're working on and adding value to our current members. But look out for that, okay? Add your details. There's a link if you want to be informed when we reopen the mentorship. Now, you might be like, oh, well, I'm impatient in real life and then I want to jump onto the charts and be patient, right? That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Your nervous system, your whole life is not built around 1 minute you can be patient and then the next minute you're not. I used to think, well, if I'm really patient with my children, then I'll be easy trade. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Now, you might think, well, if you're patient there, what about trading? Yeah, but what about if you're not patient in other areas, all right? If I'm inconsistent in my daily routines, then I'm not going to be consistent on the market. What makes you think that you can actually do that? It's the reality is, and this is the brutal honest, you're not going to be able to do it. You might be chasing all these accounts. You might be blowing all these accounts. You might be thinking, oh, 20 Apex accounts. And if I can get to 10K with 5 linked accounts on Top Step and I'll just get a 25K payout. Believe me, I've been in this game for a very long time. And if you do not have discipline and routines and everything else sorted, you might get lucky once. So remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Now, You might want to believe in things, because belief is a very, very important thing. But belief on its own is nothing. We can all believe things. Belief on its own is why you're probably stuck. You believe you're going to make it one day. How many times have you said that? I believe I'm never going to make any mistakes today. I believe I'm going to get that payout. But you're stuck. You're stuck, right? Now, that's because the market, right? The market has a strange way of exposing you. And every individual and every trader that I have worked with and continue to work with, this is the first thing that I tell them. If anybody's watching this from our community, just give me a heads up in the comment. The first thing I tell them is trading will expose you more than anything else. It will expose the things that you didn't even know that you had problems with. That's what trading does. It's not a polished version of you where you can just turn up and do what you want, okay? It's not the version you pretend to be in front of everybody else. You cannot get away with this. It is the real version of you, and trading will expose you for that big time. And that's why a lot of people can't cope with this, because no one wants to really face who they actually are. Now, the version of you that gets frustrated easily, the version of you that wants validation. We live in a world where everybody wants validation. The version of you that panics, the version of you that avoids discomfort. You ever heard of the saying, this is another gem for you, I'll take uncertainty, I'll be unhappy rather than uncertain. That's not where you want to be at. The version of you that avoids discomfort at all costs. How on earth are you going to get resilience if you always avoid discomfort? One of my students was asked about discomfort. Fran, how do I build resilience? You're going to have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions for a long period of time over a course of a few years to build resilience, especially if you've never had to do it before. Okay, you see, you can't expect yourself to be patient in trading when you've never trained for patience. You don't do any reading. You don't do no stoic work. You don't do nothing what involves patience. How on earth are you going to be able to get into trading if you don't know about patience? You can't expect yourself to execute your plan when you've never executed a plan in your daily routines. If you've never executed a plan in your daily routines, you don't stick to your Google Calendar, how on earth do you think you're going to come in and start trading? This is a brutal, honest truth. Forget all the other stuff that you see. This is the brutal, honest truth. Now, again, the market just amplifies who you are. When you talk about money, when they talk about, well, money's... No. Money doesn't do anything. Money just highlights the individual that you already were. So if you was an absolute idiot before you made money, you're going to be a bigger idiot after you've made money. If you was a grumpy or miserable or a nasty person before, you're going to be even nastier and even grumpier. Then you've got to make money. All trading does is amplify the way that you are. And if you're honest, most of your problems you think are trading problems, they aren't trading problems. They're personal problems wearing a trading mask. I love that. And I've just recently learned that from a business mentor, is that business problems are not, are your personal problems. And that's the same with trading. That's why I brought it into trading. You've got to be honest with yourself. Most of your problems that you think are trading problems are not trading problems. They are personal problems wearing a mask. They are disguised. All right. So let me explain when I talk to them. I've got some notes here as well, right? So when you jump between strategies, so we've all been there because that's how we think we need to learn. All right. You think, trading problem. So it must be a trading problem. So I'm going to jump from this trading problem. I'm going to jump to another trading problem. That's what you think is actually happening when you're going into your trading strategies, right? So in your mind, it's like, well, if I do this and I jump from one trade into another, maybe I'll get somewhere. That's not a trading problem. That's an inconsistency problem that you have. That's an avoidance of going through the breakthrough. That's your inability to commit to showing up again and again, day in, day out, to do the boring reps. That's what that is. It's not a trading problem. Another example is when you revenge trade, that's not a trading problem. Is it a trade itself? Does the market know that you are revenge trading? Of course not. Has nothing to do with the market. That's emotional immaturity that you have because you don't like the fact that you've lost and you want to try and get one back over the market like a child in a playground. That's the part of you that hates losing in life, and you refuse to accept that the market's just done what it needed to do. But it was a problem because you Revenge trade. You know, what about when we over leverage? Is it the trade's fault that it over leveraged? Absolutely not. It's your lack of self-control. It's my lack of self-control when I do the same thing as the trade. It's the same impulses that show up when you overspend. I had a massive problem of overspending. I had to decide to just keep overspending on learning material, mastermind courses, trading and books, because I had a massive problem with overspending. That's impulse. You might have a overthink. You might be overreactive. You might be overindulging. Oh, let me just have extra food. That's a lack of self-control. So when you break your rules, it's not because the setup changed. When you break your rules, it's because you haven't changed. It's because you haven't changed. And this is where most traders lie to themselves, all right? They think that you can outsmart the market with strategies, with indicators, mindset hacks, but none of that matters, my friend. You are fighting against your own patterns. Your own patterns. Now, in 2026, I'm going to even go deeper into all these types of things when it comes to your mindset and that. But you are fighting against your own patterns. And to make it even worse, you're fighting against the old version of you if you're trying to create a new version of you. And that old version of you will remain relevant as much as it can, because that's the comfort zone. The old version of you is your comfort zone, the mind and the comfort that you have already created. So and that's what you're fighting against. You're not fighting against no one else. You're fighting against yourself, all right? Very, very important. Now, you cannot escape. You can't escape who you are, right? You just can't. And you definitely can't escape who you are when money's on the line. Money will make you do things that you've never even thought you was possible of doing before. It just will. So you definitely can't escape when money's on the line, all right? And I want to tell you something that nobody really speaks about. It's something that everybody mentions in the whatever internet sphere or world sphere or whatever it is when you come to listening to people, right? But instant gratification is now a modern day lifestyle. I just said to my son earlier, you know what the biggest currency in the world is right now? Focus. Focus will make you rich. Focus will make you rich, all right? Instant gratification is a lifestyle, all right? And you need to pick delayed gratification, which is also a lifestyle, all right? You can't live one way and trade the other. You can't live TikTok crazy, instant, Uber Eats, 25 seconds, and then moan at those things and then want to go and be stoic and monk-minded when it comes to trading. You need to implement instant gratification within your life, right? That's what you need to do. Now, in your day, all right, let's think about this at this front, right? If your day is built around constant dopamine from the minute that you get up, whether that's scrolling, snacking, jumping from distraction to distraction, here, keeping yourself busy so you don't really have to think, why would you magically be able to sit down very, very calm through trading? It's very, very hard because I used to do that. So what I do now, I have meditation music or focus music, or for 3 hours. I only trade for 3 hours a day, right? And that's what I do. But before I used to try and do everything a million miles an hour. You're not going to be able to do that, right? If you're chasing quick wins in life, you're more than likely going to be chasing quick wins on the charts. You know, like that validation from others, shortcuts, the fastest way to everything, which always ends up being the longest way. Why would you suddenly be able to just automatically slow down to a boring, disciplined, process kind of trading animal, which trading requires? You're not going to be able to do that. If you're following content where it's this fast lifestyle stuff and you're looking for validation and you're showing off, this is why I've tried Instagram again this year. I don't really like it. It's not really my thing, but it's good. One, I can see what's going on with my daughters. But if you're into all that, it's very, very hard for you to be looking beyond 1, 2, 3, 4 years. All right. And you've noticed traders that were here 5 years ago are here, crypto bros that were here 5 years ago, now they've gone missing. All right. So think about the way that you're going to live your life. You just can't switch on delayed gratification. It's built within. It's really, really built within. So again, the market doesn't care about who you want to be. It responds of who you actually are in the market. All right. That's what it does. It exposes who you are. And that's why you keep repeating the same cycle time and time again. It's not because you lack technical analysis. It's not because you haven't found the right strategy. It's not because the market's unfair or it's manipulated and it keeps wicking you out and going in the right direction, or it's after you. I mean, I doubt any of you have hundreds of contracts on the line when it comes to trading. The market is not after you, all right? It's just not after you, right? It's because you're trying to perform at a high level in one area of your life, while the rest of the area of your life is bottom of the barrel. You've got to try and bring them all together. Now, you're not going to be able to do it every day. You're not going to be able to eat clean every day. You're not going to be able to work out every day. You're going to have seasons. You're going to be able to read 10 pages and 3 liters of water and pray and meditate and do all these perfect things every day. But what you're going to do, you're going to be able to delay gratification. And one thing about delayed gratification is getting into shape. Don't do no drugs and TRT and steroids and things like that, again, for outside validation, because you're going to kill yourself. It's ridiculous. But go and do it and compound. That's a very, very good way to delay gratification, because you don't see any progress for months and months and months when it comes to working out. All right. So you don't rise to the level of your goals, my people. You fall to the level of your habits. I spoke about that in a video before about the oscillation cycle. Go and check that out. And I'm going to say that again. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits every single time, because that is your comfort zone. If you have sloppy habits, you're going to trade sloppy. If you have inconsistent routines in your day, your trading is going to be inconsistent. If you lack emotional control, well, guess what, my friends? The market will trigger you every time, and your insecurities will just bury you. That's an absolute fact. So trading is not the problem. You are the problem. You are the problem. It's just a mirror. That's all it is. It's just a mirror to show you who you are. And if you don't like that person, you need to go away and do something about that. If you can't deal with it, trading's not for you, because there is a million other ways where you can go and make money. There's a million other ways where you can go and make money. I can tell you that right now. So think about all the times that you've blown accounts. It wasn't one bad trade. It wasn't one bad trade, was it? It was a chain of reactions. It was a chain of reactions. It was your impatience. It was frustration. It was the biggest one, ego. It was impulse, fear, avoidance, all mixed into one moment when your habits took over, tilt came in, and then bang. Accumulation of all the habits you did prior have just come and smashed you straight in the face, like getting ran over. That's what it feels like. Now, this is even worse when the pressure rises, because when the pressure rises, my friends, you do not rise with it because you don't have the skills. You fall back into your default familiar habits, which is normal. That's what we do as humans. You're going to do that straight back into your emotional shortcuts that you live in your everyday life. Whether you want to start a business, whether you want a successful relationship, whether you want to be a trader, whether you want to get in shape, whether you want to compound, start saving, whatever you want to do, you're going to have to get away from the instant gratification and validation of lifestyle things. It's all becoming very, very boring. It's all becoming very, very old. It's all becoming very, we know what's real, what's AI, what's not. Just be you. Become the best person that you can possibly be at. That's how I would do that. That's how I would do this. Now, until you face these patterns, until you face these problems that you have no strategy in the world, right, then nothing's going to save you. Absolutely nothing's going to save you, right? And I wanted to let me share something with you that most traders never realize. The market does not reward your strategy. It rewards character. Character of discipline, character of patience, character of emotional control, character of the ability to delay gratification, character of doing things properly when nobody's even watching. Do the things when nobody's watching. Who cares what people think on Instagram or whatever you're on? No one cares. And those people that do care, then they're not on your wavelength unless you are that type of person. Character is choosing long-term over short-term. You need to become the character. You need to become the person that you need to be successful. The character inside. Now, are you going to have faults? Are you going to make mistakes along the way? Of course you are. We're human. Of course you are. But they're going to be few and far between. Your trading results are going to be a reflection of how you are as a character. And it is hard, my friends. It is hard. I used to like the shiny object. Being football, I used to like all the flash things. I used to like the attention. I used to like the validation, huge ego, because everyone thought I was great from a kid. I struggled. I struggled big time in my private life and in my trading. And I knew I need to work on my private life to become a better character for me to be better at trading. And there's no point in being good at this and crap at that, or great at this and terrible at that. Why don't you just be good at everything? Why don't you just try and be good at everything? Because what you're feeling right now is awareness. I want you to be aware. I want this video, I want you to think, who is this guy? Who does he think he is telling me over the internet that he knows what I'm about? I want that to trigger you. I want you to be self-aware and think about all the things that you're thinking about right now. That's what I want. You can feel it in me. I get a little bit emotional. Those who know me, I get a little bit pressure, high intense, all right? I want you to be offended here, because this is the first step for you to going on to change everything, all right? That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go on and look at change things. We're going to look at your life for a moment right now. Not on the charts, not your P&L. Look at your life right now. Do you finish things off when you start? Do you stick to promises that you make to yourself? Do you delay pressure or something meaningful? Do you keep your word? Do you hold yourself accountable? Do you confront your weaknesses time and time again, or do you avoid them? Do you build discipline in the small moments? Do you train patience in boring moments? Do you just sit there in silence sometimes, which is a great way to do it? You can't cheat in life and expect to be great in other areas to shortcut your life. It's not going to work like that. Successful trading is built on habits, and that's what most people never want to build outside of trading. They want to try and build it in trading and not outside of trading. It's not going to work like that. Like I've said, you need to be consistent in every day the things that you do. Not because you're smarter or you want to be smarter, not because, everybody else is aligned and you're not aligned, right? You need to do it for you. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Right? But I can tell you one thing for sure. What traders do in their life matches what they do in their trading. That's what they do. They do align. What's going to get me where I need to get to? And what do I need to stay on that route? So if you want to become a different trader, you need to become a different person. Better routines, cleaner habits, honest reflection, less distractions, more discipline, less reactive, more responding, less ego, and more self-aware, because the market rewards a version of you that you haven't become yet. And that's why you are not successful. That's where the real journey is going to begin after this video. No learning strategies. We're not learning more. We're not learning about memorizing patterns. We're not watching endless videos. We are going to start the journey on how to treat every decision that we make. How am I going to slow down? How am I going to regulate my emotions? And how am I going to build patience in life so I can become a natural day trader? All right. Remember this, you're not struggling with trading. You're struggling with trading habits. That's what you are struggling with. That's what you're struggling with, my friends. I'm going to leave you with that one. If you need any help with that, there is closed at the moment. There is an email form. Fill it out. You will get an email when we are opening our doors again for our mentorship. As always, I'll see you soon.